Well, I think I'll leave that post for a few hours and let the concrete go off a little bit so it's more stable. And then I'll have to come back up and work on getting the elbows and things turned and getting the conduit coming up out of the ground. I have to say that packing, what is that, 160 pounds plus water, so probably 180 pounds of concrete up this hill. If I did that every day, I'd be in a lot better shape. But I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to do it. Like I shared earlier in this video, it was several months where coming up this hill at all was too dangerous. My back was too unstable, and one fall and I would have had some serious issues. So pretty thankful that my back is stronger. It's not perfect. I'm looking forward to having this project done. Finally got the hot tub to light. You know what? I don't think it lit. Been working on that stupid rascal for probably half an hour between doing other tasks, but the wood I have in there just doesn't want to go. So I think I will hold here and try to finish this up this afternoon. While I'm waiting on that concrete, I have a small lingering to do, and I thought I might just share a quick update on these hour meters that I put on some of our tools. So the Honda hour meter is doing really well. It's pretty cool. It's keeping track. That's great. That's all you could ask for, right? But I can say it looks like the battery is getting run down already. It's got 1 bar on the battery. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I guess I'll just keep an eye on it. And if you remember, I'm sure some of you people noticed, I did not finish routing this cable, and it's because I really didn't know of a great way to do it. And I was thinking about this, and I remembered that they make these kind of double stick mounting bases for just this purpose, so I don't have to drill and do a bunch of stuff. So if I put maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3, I can probably kind of work this wire around over here and then maybe just take up some of the slack, you know, something like that. And it'll all look good. It's not stupid durable, so if it gets bashed or something, of course that's gonna knock it out of commission. But sometimes I don't finish projects like this because I don't like the options that I have, and I don't really know at the moment what it is that I want to do, especially when it comes to like kind of routing wires. That's one of those things that I can personally admit I get hung up on a lot. Something else on my to-do list here in the next couple of days. In fact, I'm tempted to try to hammer it out today, although it seems like it always takes longer than I want, or I expect, I suppose, is oil changes. I've got to get the backhoe. We're probably close to 250 hours, and I'm gonna just assume that the owner changed the oil when we got it. Also need to change the hydraulic filter, which I need to read my service manual and figure out where that is. It's not obvious to me. I've also got to change the oil in our new Ford truck. I need to get that done. Need to get the sawmill oil changed, and it's not pouring down rain right now, which it has been for the past month. So I'm tempted to jet and try to get all the materials and then start in on this stuff and kind of work from high priority to low priority. I noticed that the radiator cap on the backhoe is looking pretty aged and not doing too well, so I think these are probably under $10. They're such a cheap fix that it makes no sense to have one that's in poor condition. Having this service manual for the case has been really fantastic, but something I've realized is that it doesn't really have like basic day-to-day maintenance. So it does have like fluid capacities, stuff like that. Here we go. So engine oil 11.6 quarts, and then it has a chart for viscosity here. We're probably going to run this down to 20 below, so we'll probably run a 1030, which is probably what's in there. It's pretty standard oil. It does not give us filter numbers and things for like the hydraulic system. It does tell us the capacity and the fluids, which I've already sorted that out. We found a Chevron fluid that's really good quality. I'll have to get more familiar with that manual. And then of course we have the manual for the sawmill here. And it looks like under engine, there's actually several types of engines. There it is, G25. Here we go. Oil filter, Kohler oil filter. and fuel filter. I think the fuel filter is probably fine for quite a while. I don't know what the specs are on that. I think having these manuals is super helpful, and then having some sort of record keeping, just so you know what the service life is on, and then also what you've done to take care of it. Gives you all the specs so you can find them in a hurry, so you can buy the supplies. I don't think this exactly pertains only to living off-grid, but also to home building and property development. A lot of my past, living in a more urban area, city life, if you want to call it that, you tend to buy things that are less durable. You buy just kind of homeowner stuff. I'll call it that, homeowner stuff. Whereas out here, we're pretty far from service centers. It's not convenient if things break to replace them. So we tend to focus a lot on, first of all, buying quality. And then, as I mentioned in one of our sawmill videos, when we broke the blade and damaged the belts on the sawmill, we focus on finding things that are serviceable. And then, of course, you try to have a few materials on hand to make sure that you can service it. Because if something breaks, we're too far. We can't just run down to the parts house usually and get a part. It was shocking when the alternator died on the backhoe that the local parts store had one in stock. It's a fairly common engine, and so that's also a factor when we buy things. We try not to use obscure materials, obscure designs. We try to use things that are fairly standardized. It just makes life that much easier in the long run. So I'm thinking that I've only got maybe less than 2 hours of daylight left, and I really want this trench project done. So I've got a list of all the quantities and capacities and stuff of oil and filters and things that I need. I think I'm going to try to save that for tomorrow. I'm really hoping it doesn't start raining again. But I want this trench project done. I have a hunch that concrete up top's probably hardened quite a bit, and that post is probably fairly stable. So let's go finish that, and then we'll probably make a town run later and get all the materials so I've got them here to do all those oil changes. Oops, it's burnt my gloves. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing? You silly boy? Huh? What are you doing, silly boy? Huh? Are you rubbing? Are you busy? What's going on? We'll keep her all that to that post. Post is looking pretty solid. And then we should be ready to backfill all this on Thursday. Oh, I almost forgot. This wire is the tracer wire, and that needs to be run up here with that. Perfect. this sand that we're using to backfill the trench is, I think it's a byproduct of washing crushed rock. Don't hold me to that. But it is $400 for a truckload, which I think is around 11 yards, maybe 12, which puts it at about $40 a yard, which is really high, like 4 times the cost of crushed rock. I had dreamt of backfilling most of this with sand just so that our plumbing is safe, our tanks are safe, and stuff like that. This is all material that we filtered with our rock filter, our rock grizzly, and that pile over there has not been filtered. It was just excavated. You can see the pile of rock. Those are rocks that have been hand picked out of there. We have a pile of rock that are 2 foot diameter. So because of the cost, I'm pretty sure that filling this hole with this material would be like $1,000. Wow. So I think tomorrow I want to come up here and try to get that pile of rock in this hole and see where that gets us. And then I'll make a decision about whether or not to fill the rest of this with sand, because otherwise we've got to bring in either topsoil or something, which we were using the grizzly to try to prevent that. But of course, we filtered out 50% rock, and so we have to make up for the volume of that rock somehow. But hopefully the trench will be affordable. I don't even know what the word is. That's not the right word. But I guess in hindsight, we're happy we have the trench. We're happy we did it the way we did. And I think we'll be happy with the sand. But I can say that if you have to do a trench like this, on a hill like this, in rock like this, there's really no great way to do it. The only other way that really would have been feasible would be to cut a road and then to trench beside that road, and then you could backfill that trench, and of course then you'd have a road. The problem with that, of course, you're going to destroy all the roots and very likely going to have to remove trees. So for us, we felt like those things weren't worth it. Ask us in 50 years whether it was a great idea or not. So I'm heading down. I think I'm gonna stoke the hot tub one last time, and then I'm gonna head off to town. I need to get some conduit keepers to put on that post so those conduits will stay there while we're filling the trench. And then I've got to get materials for tomorrow to do the oil change and services. So we'll see you next time.